Welcome to VTeach. In today's session, we will be discussing about wave propagation. That is the last unit in all the universities. So far we had studied about the fundamental parameters of antenna and different types of antenna and what are the arrays that are being there and in what way the feed system should be given to the antenna and in what way the measurements are needed to be considered. In that way, we had studied or concentrated about more on antennas and their structures and their errors and everything. Now, we are going to study only on the basis of propagation itself. So that is the reason we are been concentrating here, that in what way the wave is being propagating from a transmitter to free space and what are the possible mediums that are being there and what are the different parameters that are needed to be considered and what are the definitional parts that are needed to be identified should be known to us. So this particular unit will always deals with wave propagation and the concept of propagation and their frequency ranges, types of propagation, and in which the first type of propagation will comes as ground wave propagation, in which we will be studying the characteristics of it, parameters like wave tilt, flat and earth considerations, and as well in sky wave propagation we will be studying about the formation of isotropic ionospheric layers and their characteristics, mechanism of reflection and refraction, critical frequency and minimum usable frequency, lowest usable frequency, optimum frequency and skip distance. As well as we will be calculating some flat and earth cases, spherical earth cases, and as well as that we will be studying the ionospheric abnormalities and in what way that absorption is going to be happen in ionospheric layers, and we will be calculating the fundamental equation of the free space as well as basic transmission loss calculation. And moving on to the next type of mode is the space wave propagation, in which we also study the mechanism and we will be studying the line of sight propagation and we will be defining what is the radio horizon, and we will be studying the troposcatter wave propagation, in which we will be studying radius of the curvature of the path and effective earth radius, effect of earth's curvature, as well as field strength calculations and the importance of the M curves. As well, we will be considering troposcatter propagation and duct propagation, which is also considered to be as super retraction and multi propagation. So all these will be defining us in how many ways that wave could be propagated from one antenna to other antenna using the medium, and based on these propagations, in what way the radiation patterns are needed to be studied. And coming to the basic concept here, as per the syllabus we had seen the topics there, but those topics in my notes will be in random manner, so don't get confused with the syllabus pattern. Just follow the topics and check your syllabus sheet, you will be finding that topic. Here, as per the sequential order, I have arranged the notes pattern to it because the syllabus is been defined in a random way. Now, the first thing is we need to know about the basic thing of a propagation. So, the propagation always depends not only on their properties, but also on the environmental conditions. So, this everyone knows that simply the propagation could not be happened. So, environmental effects also need to be considered here. And coming to the concept of free space propagation is always realized in the space which is far from the earth itself and which does not have any interferences with the radio wave propagation. And the concept of free space propagation always simplifies the approach of the waves that are being propagated. So the main thing of the propagation that we need to consider is that all the transmitted power should be available at the receiving end, but in most of the cases, due to abnormalities in the environmental conditions, we will be missing out some small portion of the transmitted power. So a portion of received power will be calculated at all the times in all the modes of propagation, in such a way that whether the transmitted power is been equivalent to receiver power or not. Because when we deal with antennas, that we have concentrated that all the antennas are being designed in such a way that they are been following the reciprocity theorem application. In reciprocity theorem, it specifies that whatever the transmitted energy is been there, that is needed to be received by the receiver. But whether it is been happening in this criteria or not, it depends upon the mode of propagation. So how many types of propagation are being there? There are three types of propagation that we need to consider. That is ground wave propagation, the other one is sky wave propagation, and the third one is space wave propagation. So these three propagations are needed to be considered, and based on the frequencies that we are been using, we will be choosing the type of propagation also. So that is the reason the modes of propagation depends upon the frequency, and these are well utilized in all the communication purposes. So coming to the concept, first, before propagating, we are very much aware of the propagation, that is free space propagation. So to define the free space propagation, first we need to know about the fundamental equation of free space propagation. So this fundamental equation is being defined on the basis of the loss itself. What is that loss? Is considered to be as radio transmission loss. That is ratio of the power received to the ratio of the power transmitted is considered to be as our radio transmission loss. So fundamental equation will be defined on the basis of that itself. So it is essentially the square law in optics. Whichever we have been thinking, the square law in optics is applied to define this radio transmission loss. So let me take that, as I described that this transmission loss needs to be calculated, means I need to calculate the receiver power first, and then I need to formulate the transmitted power, and I need to correlate them whether there is any variation or not. If variation exists, then we will be saying that there is a free space path loss. So now for the start of this equation, I will be starting the average power that is being transmitted will be considered always equally distributed in all directions, because as we have been using isotropic sources, and it is going to travel a distance of r, and the power density will be calculated per the unit area here. So which is been taken as PR equal to WT by 4 pi d square. It is PR stands for the power received at a distance, and WT stands for the transmitted power density divided by 4 pi d square. And this is the surface area of the sphere of radius d, 4 pi d square. That is the reason we are being including it, because in free space we are going to cover up that particular sphere distance. All the antennas are going to follow the directional characteristics. As I said, every transmitting antenna is being tuned towards the receiving antenna, so or directed towards the receiving antenna, so it follows some directional characteristics. So directional gain is always defined in terms of the ratio of actual power to the input power. So this is the directional gain definition, that is, it is defined as ratio of actual power density to that of same input power, or the produced by an isotropic antenna, or simply we can say that power density by average power density of isotropic antenna. Then we will be calling it as directivity gain. So sometimes average will not be considered, only power density will be considered. So here that same expression is been given, that is GT. It is the directivity gain at the transmitting end. It is power density at the test antenna with respect to the power received at the isotropic antenna, and PD equal to GT into PR, where PR already we had seen it is WT by 4 pi d square. So a receiving antenna should be positioned in such a way that it has to collect the maximum power that is being radiated from the transmitter. So the received power here will be considered to be as WR. This could be happen only under matched condition. Remember that this could be happened only under matched condition. Then when it is been said in such a way that effective aperture is coming into the picture, so then only will be say that it is effectively under matched condition itself. That is WR equal to PD into AE, where WR equal to, substitute the value of PD that we has got, that is GTWT by 4 pi d square into AE. So for any antenna, the maximum directivity or the effective area are related in this way. G equal to 4 pi lambda square into AE, or AE by G equal to lambda square by 4 pi. Maximum directivity of the receiving antenna will be GR into lambda square by 4E. Then I am going to substitute this AE value in the above equation. So here I have got WR equation where that effective aperture power gain is calculated. I am going to substitute this maximum directivity gain there, and on substituting I am going to get the equation as WR by WT equal to GT into GR by 4 pi d square into lambda square by 4 pi, where it is the power density of the receiving antenna towards the transmitting antenna, and which is given by gain of the transmitting antenna to the gain of the receiving antenna, and it is always said to be as fundamental equation of a free space transmission or propagation, and this is also called to be as Friis free space equation. And in lossless medium, the same equation is being written in this way. Just I am rearranging the above equation. See the above equation, WR by WT equal to GT GR by 4 pi d square lambda square by 4 pi, where I has rearranged that into GT GR into lambda by 4 pi d whole square, where I has cross multiplied it. So WR equal to WT into GT GR by 4 pi d by lambda whole square. So as we discussed that it is WT is radiated power, WR is received power, GT is maximum directivity gain of transmitting antenna, GR is the maximum directivity gain of receiving antenna, and lambda is the wavelength, D is the distance. So if I am going to have the denominator value as large, then I will be able to say that I am going to receive very less power. So depends upon the denominator value. What is the denominator value? That is LS equal to 4 pi d by lambda whole square, and we will be saying this as a spatial attenuation. So dissipation or some absorption losses, and these loss will be considered very much in this free space losses. And here the electric field strength at the receiving antenna by Poynting theorem we already seen in the first unit, that is PD equal to E cross H, or E by H equal to nu equal to 120 pi. So hence PD can be written as PD equal to E into E by nu, which is E square by nu, or else E equal to square root of PD into nu. Now substitute the value of PD here. So I just substituted the value of PD here and nu value. On substituting, I am going to get the electric field strength as square root of 30 GTWT by D. This is the fundamental equation which gives the field strength at the receiving antenna. Remember, this is the field strength at the receiving antenna. And this receiving antenna will be having an effective length or height analogous to the area, and it is an open circuit EMF, and it is considered to be as VOC, means voltage at open circuit will be taken out as E into effective length. In terms of field strength, if I want to talk it, E equal to E naught equal to square root of 30 Wt Gt, or else therefore E equal to E naught by D. So this is the field strength that is at unit distance if we are been considering. So free space equation is always calculated on the basis of power density, and this power density will be calculated on the basis of transmitted power to that of receiver power. We had seen the expressions, and it is very important try to practice the notations clearly. Thank you.